Today we step out of the garden to discuss bringing our favorite flowers indoors with a veteran floral designer. You won't want to miss it, so stay tuned as we garden smart from Georgia.
Since 1945, Pennington has been a part of American tradition. Fall is a great time to plant cool season grass seed. Pennington grass seed. Pennington, the grass seed people.
Bring the outdoors into your everyday life. Bass Pro Shops can outfit all your adventures, even those in your backyard. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here.
Eric Johnson joins Alki Tours as they sail right into the pages of a gardening storybook in Holland and Belgium. Information available at alkitours.com. Alki Tours, a proud sponsor of GardenSMART.
The Jaguar F-Pace.
From the beginning of time, gardening has connected people and communities around the common goals of producing food, creating beautiful spaces, and working together to make our surroundings more enjoyable. Gardeners are an intrinsically generous group of people. Whether it's sharing seedlings or cuttings from our favorite plants, or sharing the abundance of the years of harvest with our neighbors, to engaging with those in our community and developing deeper relationships. Today's show is a wonderful portrait of the spirit of community and sharing. We recently discovered the Kathy B. Davis Foundation and their program, Flowers for a Purpose, that brings together youths and adults with developmentally delayed diagnosis to learn about flowers, create beautiful arrangements, and share them with folks in nursing homes or with friends and families on special occasions. The foundation was formed 5 years ago by her husband, Dave Davis, as a tribute to her work and nonprofit that touched the lives of many over the span of her life. As the foundation has grown, the participants have seen firsthand the power of working with plants to create beautiful arrangements that can be shared with others, as well as the mutually beneficial relationships that are formed between the young and old as they work together. In this episode, we meet with a professional floral designer to discuss principles of floral design and arrangement. We will discuss some tips for growing cut flowers in the garden and the types of plants that work particularly well in arrangements. Morgan Norwood would be our guide today. She comes from a family of floral designers where she learned the fundamentals of the trade. She also has a natural eye for works well in a vase and has a keen appreciation for color theory. She practices her craft daily at Brenda's House of Flowers in Woodstock, Georgia, and will be sharing her expertise with us. Morgan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today we're going to be talking about the world of flower arranging, which for me as a gardener is a wonderful way of bringing the garden inside. And a lot of the same principles of garden design apply to flower arranging. In some ways I think about what we're doing in a vase as a kind of micro gardening. Today I want to talk about basically what we need to know, start to finish, to have more success with our own at-home designs. What kind of tools do we need to think about?
Sure. Well, the first thing you want to think about, obviously, is your vase. I think before you begin any design, you want to picture what your outcome is going to be. What kind of look are you going for? Today, I was kind of picturing a wildflower look for us because we're talking about gardening and what we can take from our own gardens. So you want to pick out your vase, and then you also have your tools for cutting, tape for the top of the vase, and you can also bring in things like rose strippers to help you prep your flowers as well.
So basically, a lot of the same tools that we use in the garden. Let's talk about the plants that we're going to use now, moving on to the flowers and the greenery. There are many flowers that work great in cut arrangements, There are others that are not as ideal. What are we looking for a good cut flower?
Well, of course, anything when you're designing, you do want to cut flower. You want something that's going to have a strong, long stem for you to be able to design with. And when it comes to greenery, especially when you're designing at home, it's really up to you and what you choose. Whatever you think is going to look nice and bring the aesthetic you're looking for in your arrangement.
So what do we need to think about when we're getting ready to put everything together? I know, we need to cut the bottom of the stems, strip off some of the lower leaves. How do we start moving in the direction of composing our arrangement?
Sure. Well, once we have all of our tools set up, we have everything ready for us. One of the first things we want to do is prep our flowers in our greenery. Like for roses, for example, you want to strip off the thorns and also take off a lot of the leaves. Some people don't realize that, but you do want to strip off almost all the leaves of the rose except for maybe the top two, so that it's thinner and easier to put down into your arrangement.
Let's talk about color theory. And I know that there's an art and a science to making everything look just right in the vase. What would be some basic tips that you would have for us to optimizing the outcome as we think about the right colors working together?
Sure. Well, an easy tip you can always use is when you're looking at a color wheel, any colors that are opposite from one another actually complement one another. So red and green, orange and blue, yellow and purple are always colors that complement one another. And you can also use the idea of using like a cool theme. Or like today, we're going to use bright colors. So I'm not going to use any reds, but things like pinks and purples and yellows to give a really summery feel.
What about texture? I know that some of those beautiful garden designs and arrangements that I've seen, they incorporate a wide variety of textures. So you can have wider leaf, maybe more spiky plants, some nice delicate foliage. What do we need to be thinking about there?
Yeah, absolutely. For me personally, I like to use a nice range of textures to create some dimension and just a nice style in my arrangement. I like it to be more than just one-dimensional. So there's all kinds of flowers that you can use to really bring that to life. We have a few different kinds of flowers in designing that we categorize them as, like your prominent flowers. For example, a sunflower, which is what I'm going to use today. This is a nice flower that's really going to pop an arrangement and draw your eye. There's also filler flowers, and they do exactly what they're called. They fill in the vase, they add volume, and they also help out because when you're putting your stems into the vase, things can be loose, and that makes it hard to hold them in place. So the fillers help to hold things in place just like your greenery does. A little saying that we use is your greenery is your glue. So fillers are kind of the same idea. We also have types of flowers like this larkspur here that are nice and long and tall, and those are fun. It's a personal favorite for me. Again, it's going to just add a little bit more to your arrangement, something to make it pop, to give it some height.
So now we've picked our flowers out, we've got our greenery selected, and we've decided basically what kind of color theme we want to go with. Walk us through the process of composing this arrangement.
Absolutely. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your water in your vase. What a lot of people may not realize is that you want to use lukewarm water typically. If you were going for an arrangement, say, of all hydrangea, we have a saying again that says, the harder the stem, the hotter the water. So warmer water for harder stems, it just helps to bloom out your flowers and make them look really nice. So we'll fill up our vase with water, then we'll create a grid across the top with tape, which is another secret that designers use in the shop that you can kind of take home and use as well. And another little trick you can use is that when you cut the end of a flower, you actually do not want to cut it straight across. You want to cut it at an angle so that it creates a larger surface area and it can suck in more water. Therefore, your arrangement is going to last a little bit longer.
We selected our vase, we figured out the color combinations we want to go with. We have our plant material here. Let's start composing our arrangement.
Absolutely. The first thing that we're going to put in is our greenery. So today I'm using leatherleaf, which is this right here, and it's really a staple for designers. We use it every day. So you're just going to go around the vase in each little square that's taped off here and put a piece of greenery down in it. And another thing that you have to learn to do is just measuring the stems, how long you need them to be to fit down in the vase. Since I've been designing for a little while, I can look at it and tell. A really simple way is just to hold a piece of greenery or a flower to the vase to be able to measure it to see how tall you need it.
Seems like one of the advantages of the tape as well is that it does provide some structure and support. So
Absolutely.
if the stem is a little too short, it'll keep it, at a nice height.
Absolutely, it'll hold it up, that's right. And as you get more greenery in, you'll feel as you're sticking it in that it's beginning to get full and that you're really creating a good base down in there to stick stems down in. So now I'm ready to put in the flowers. You can create your own system as to what you're comfortable with, but for me, what I like to do is put in kind of what my base is going to be. Not my fillers and not my most prominent flower, but the other flowers that I want to fill up the arrangement. That's going to be some of my larkspur here. And another great thing you can do, especially at home, is use every part of the flower. These are what I call tendrils. And I can break them off and later stick them into my design when I'm almost done to just add a little bit more of a fun element.
So Morgan, talk a little bit about the way that you balance the arrangement. How many of each of these plants do you like to use?
That's a really good point. A good trick that designers use is to always use an odd number of flowers. So instead of picking up 2 sunflowers, use 3. 3, 5, 7, 9. Odd numbers is just something that happens to be aesthetically pleasing. So since I have 3 pink and 3 purple here, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to another flower. I think I wanna add in my athos.
What's great about this arrangement too is that every single plant that you've selected here, these are all plants that grow in our garden naturally. It's a very practical, do-it-yourself at home kind of arrangement.
Absolutely. I was hoping to bring that element today so that the viewers can really see that this is something practical that they can accomplish at home. So like there I have a sunflower. And I don't put them in first simply because I want to make sure they're put somewhere in the arrangement where they are going to stand out, where they're not going to get lost behind the other flowers. Let's see, now we have our snapdragons, and I just cleaned the neck of them and pulled off those leaves because again, cleaning them up not only is prettier, it looks nicer, but it also is practical when you're inserting them into an arrangement because they take up less room in the arrangement.
And even at this point in the arrangement, there's a lot of additional things that have got to get added. But we already have a really nice array of textures, wonderful contrast that's starting to come in with the yellows and the deep purples, and then also some of the softer hues like the kind of the more like lime yellow and the pinks.
Absolutely, and you see too, as I'm designing, I'm turning. Okay, so now I'm going to pop in some roses. I want to kind of spread them out so that I can put them next to something that's going to contrast and it's going to pop. This is a really fun flower. Again, great texture, nice and tall, can add something extra to your arrangement.
Yeah, that's a nice texture. And we talk about container gardening a lot on GardenSMART, and we see a lot of those same principles in the vase here. We have these establishing pillars, and then you have the fillers, and then you have the spillers at the bottom, which is the way that we think about designing a container in our garden.
So now I'm gonna put in these orange roses. I thought these were great, it's a fun color. You wanna take off the thorns, of course, and also some of the leaves on the bottom. So again, when you're inserting them, it's thinner, easier to insert. And then you also kind of take off a few of the leaves around the outside. So that the bloom looks nice. A lot of times you have what are called birth leaves on the outside that are slightly different color, slightly different texture. They're just not quite as pretty. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put in a little bit of filler. This is Solidago that I'm using here. Again, it's a personal favorite of mine. I use it as much as possible. So I'm just gonna spread that out pretty evenly throughout my arrangement. I'm getting my purple and white Monte Cassino, which are also fillers. And I'm going to disperse those as well. Again, keeping in mind the colors that I already have in here. I don't want to put a bunch of purple Monte Cassino right up against my liatris and my larkspur here and have them all blend in. All right, I think that we're gonna call this done.
Great. We've walked through the outline of the flower arrangement we're going to make with our guest today and learned a bit about how Morgan approaches floral design. Now it's time to bring everyone together so they can start creating their own arrangements.
Okay guys, so what we're gonna start with today is we're gonna get our leather leaf here and we're gonna go ahead and put those in the vases so that we have a base to the arrangement, okay? So you can trim them with your clippers if you need. You can kind of just hold them up to the vase to see how tall you need them. Yeah, that's great. You can do one at a time or a few at a time.
It's heartwarming to see how after everyone starts the process of creating and working together, the barriers come down between the collaborators and a spirit of teamwork permeates the process.
That's exactly right. You clip your stems at an angle so that you can get the most water in there. And keep in mind too, when you first start putting the greens in, they're not gonna go where you want them to. They're gonna kind of fall around, but put all the greens in there because you need as many greens as you can get.
Both young and old will find common ground around their task of making something beautiful to share with others. Friendships are formed, and the excitement they share is felt by all. Regardless of age, we all have the inherent need to interact with others. Numerous studies have demonstrated that maintained or increased socialization has numerous health benefits ranging from lower rates of depression to fewer incidents of illness, enhanced performance on memory tests, to even extended lifespans. Risk of falls is reduced in seniors who regularly engage in activities with younger generations. Working together, both learn from each other, whether it's a new skill or new ways of looking at the world. There's a sense of purpose that comes from the shared engagement as both parties are giving of themselves and finding an unexpected companionship in the process. That looks great.
Yeah, here guys, some of these flowers are buried, but you can use whatever color you want. And see with these, here you go.
I don't have the orange in, right?
Yeah, we have pink and orange.
Many seniors in assisted living facilities see few visitors and cherish their interactions with their young visitors. In the same way, many special needs youth have very few friends in their normal circles and find a welcoming, smiling face, eager to share their many years of wisdom and life experience.
Do you want to put it in? All right. We've got plants.
Yeah, I think all the sunflowers are on the table, but that's fine because I'm sure not everybody's gonna, you know, we've got some hidden underneath here. You want another one? Yeah, that's called delphinium. Yeah, those kind of get tangled together, don't they? It's okay, you can pull them apart. They're a little more sturdy than you think. They are pretty strong, and you know what? If you do break them, it's no big deal. Plenty more snapdragons over here. Here, there's a whole pile of snapdragons. And sometimes too, guys, if it has a bunch of leaves on the stem, you can strip them, just run your hand down the stem like this, and it makes it much easier to put into the vase.
I love purple.
Yeah, if you guys want some different color, here's some solidago to fill in with. Here's some purple larkspur. I like these, are fun because they're kind of fuzzy. This is larkspur, and it's one of my favorites. That's a beautiful stem you have there of it.
Creating beautiful flower arrangements is something that anyone can do. It's great to understand the fundamentals, but really, all you need is some basic supplies, a bundle of your favorite flowers, and a creative spirit.
Yeah, sunflowers are my favorite flower. I've liked them since I was a little girl. Here, this is liatris, that's different.
Type of thistle.
I'll just show you what all we have. This is thistle, that one's kind of fun. You like that one? That one's cool. Guys love thistle. There's delphinium if you guys want any of that. And I do have some pink larkspur if you want pink. Those are very wildflower, aren't they? So you can look at them and tell. The hybrid is gorgeous too on delphinium. They're beautiful. Yeah, I would definitely break up some of the pink right there so you can see.
I love everything.
Yeah, maybe the sunflower.
You want to do that one?
Yeah, and we also have some solidago that's yellow too to fill in if you guys need it. I like all the different heights that you guys have going on. That's nice.
That's original.
Is it getting full? Yeah. Sunflowers have thick stems, so sometimes, yeah, you can get full. If you want to fill in, you can use things like this.
Okay, what does it look like?
Or here's some Monty
Yeah.
too. That's a great filler because they're really thin. See? Oh,
Okay.
perfect, right? Do you guys need some pink roses down there? You're gonna stick it right down in the middle? Here, you wanna get it down in there for me? Awesome, perfect. Yeah, sometimes you gotta get different angles. You gotta spin the arrangement around, stand up, sit down.
Sonny, I think y'all need another.
I do, I have to dance all around to get them right. And sometimes too, you can peel off these outer petals here, reveal the prettier ones.
You like it?
All the way.
If you ever want to dry out flowers, all you have to do is hang them upside down in like a cool, dark place, hairspray them, and you can save them. Yes, exactly. A good fresh stem of thistle, like a really nice one, the stems will be totally bright blue.
No, not really.
And a lot of times I'll use those around the edges, you know, because that way you can see it. Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah.
This is what I call this man versus wild.
Man versus wild. Usually I can eye them out pretty well. There you go.
Today we brought together two groups in our community whose paths typically don't cross and witness the impact that creating something beautiful together that is designed to be shared with others has on all involved. It's a picture of collaboration and giving back to the community, as well as learning from each other and the sense of accomplishment that comes from creating something beautiful. Our special thanks to the Kathy B. Davis Foundation and Flowers for a Purpose, Just People, which is a nonprofit organization devoted to creating community for those with developmental disabilities, and Atria Point, an assisted living community in Alpharetta, Georgia.
We don't have enough. I don't think many of us have. Is that okay? We got enough.
It has been a wonderful day seeing everyone work together to create beautiful arrangements. These programs are so impactful in bringing people together in our communities and are the types of activities that can be implemented across the country.
I think they all look amazing. It looks great. Absolutely.
Big round of
I
applause.
think you guys did great.
Good job. Do you have any tips for us for keeping our arrangement looking great as long as we possibly can?
Absolutely. You make something so beautiful, you want to keep it around. So one thing you can do is just where you keep it in your home. You don't want to put it in direct sunlight. You don't want to put it next to something like an air vent or where heat's going to be blowing on it. You know, you don't want to dry it out, of course. Not a lot of heat, not too much cold air either. And another thing you can do is plant food, which essentially, if you go and get a flower arrangement and you get plant food to put in the water, all it is sugar. So you can actually take some sugar packets at home, add it to the water, and it will help feed the flowers.
Great, that's a wonderful tip. Morgan, thanks so much for sharing your expertise. This came out great.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.
Each week we travel the country north to south, east to west, visiting some of the most exciting gardens, as well as talking to industry horticulturists about design principles, new plants, and also how you can be more successful with your home garden. Next year we'll be visiting some very special gardens. Visit our website at GardenSMART.com to find out how you can join us as we Garden Smart New York.
Since 1945, Pennington has been a part of American tradition. Fall is a great time to plant cool season grass seed. Pennington grass seed. Pennington, the grass seed people.
Bring the outdoors into your everyday life. Bass Pro Shops can outfit all your adventures, even those in your backyard. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here.
Eric Johnson joins Alki Tours as they sail right into the pages of a gardening storybook in Holland and Belgium. Information available at alkitours.com. Alki Tours, a proud sponsor of GardenSMART.
The Jaguar F-Pace.
Today we explored the fundamentals of flower arrangement and discussed ways to get the most out of cut flowers in our home gardens. If you have questions about anything you've seen today, visit us on the web at GardenSMART.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook. And remember, even if you're a master gardener, there's always more to learn. So join us next week for more great gardening tips and ideas as we garden smart.